with Sheila SiStar here on Heart Talks.
Good day, peeps. Welcome to Heart Talks. This is my Spiritual Tools for Everyday Living series. And I wanted to share a healing experience that I'm actually still involved in. I had a healing session day before yesterday. And I not only asked for this healing, but I also am standing in observance of it, because healing is what we've been talking about so much here on Heart Talks. And so I did have the ability to kind of stay detached and watch this healing session that I received. I've been aware for the last year that I was holding on to some fear. And I had tried using a lot of my tools to help heal this fear that was just very dominant in me. And I tried on my own, and I just was not getting the results that I needed. And so finally, I'm like, universe, I can't take this anymore. I'm going insane. I need help. I need help to release this fear. Okay, so I have this deal with the universe that when I ask for assistance, when I ask for a healer, the deal is, universe, you send the healer to me. I will not be looking for this healer. You will send this person to me. And then it's a matter of me being patient and waiting for the right one. The reason I do this is because I want proof, I guess you could say. But it's also about trust and faith that my healer has received the message that Sheila needs some assistance. And I know that if this healer receives that message, he or she is very well in tune with spirit. And I know that this is the correct healer for me to use. So day before yesterday, my healer contacts me out of the blue. I've been given a message by spirit that I need to share with you some sounds. Okay, this was Lee Marie, who lives in Puerto Rico. It was the first time that I had received a healing with her. I had spoken to her before. We had tried doing a show, and the internet was bad, and that was my only contact with her. We did the other show, and after the show, she said, Sheila, I've received this message that I should share with you some sounds. And I said, all right. So we went into a private moment. Okay, the minute she contacted me, I started bawling my eyes out, because I knew that the universe had heard my plea. I knew that my angel had arrived. And I was already in grateful mode, because I knew that I was going to receive a healing now. She started with bringing in all of my spiritual team. She knew exactly who my team that I always deal with was. So she brought them into our circle, into our session there. And she started with some mantras and with her singing bowls. Okay. And then she asked me, do you know the Ho'oponopono? Ho'oponopono. Do you know that? And I said, oh my gosh, yes, I do. Okay. Now let me tell you about that. It was over a year and a half ago that my friend Dave in Montana came over and told me all about this. This is a tool to use for healing. And he told me the whole history of it. He told me how to use it, how other people have been using it. We sat there and talked, and as if we were looking at this tool. And I'm just like, that is the coolest tool I've ever seen. That is so cool. I put it in my backpack, and I never brought it out to use it. A year and a half ago is when I received that tool, and I never brought it out. I have never used it. And I've seen people on Facebook using it over and over again, and it still did not dawn on me that that was the tool that I needed to use. Okay? The minute we started using that tool, I physically felt the fear leaving my body. Okay? I am not going to sit here and say I understand exactly what was happening, because I don't. I cannot put into words how it is that there was a physical lifting that I felt by simply saying that maybe twice. Okay? What Ho'oponopono means is, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. The deal with that is that you are taking full responsibility for the pain or fear that you're feeling. Okay? This can be difficult because the ego doesn't want you to do that. It lives on that fear, and it doesn't want to be disintegrated. It wants to still be in control. Okay? Those words, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, those are all in vibration with universal vibration of love. Those are all vibrations of love. Okay? The reason why it was working was because I was in that moment finally taking full responsibility. The other tools that I used, they weren't, I wasn't taking full responsibility at that point. I was still trying to do something out there. Okay? This brought it all in. This is what I needed for my healing. And I knew as soon as she suggested it, I knew that had been the tool that I had been looking for all this time. So she started playing the singing bowls for me. And in that moment, then I went inside, and I could feel all of me from the body of Sheila all the way to the ancient one that I know that I am. I integrated all of that. Okay? Almost like that Phoenix effect. Okay? It was probably one of the most beautiful healing sessions that I've been in. And when we were done, then of course I thanked her, and I told her, listen, I'm going to go into healing mode now. I can feel my heart expanding. I can feel my crown expanding. I need to just receive all this love that I've been returned to, that I have received from all my guides, from my healer. And I need to process this. And I want to do that by going and resting, because I don't want my mind to interfere at this point. Physically, the symptoms were, I felt like I had been run over by a truck. Okay. Every cell in my body had just released fear. And it was like I felt light and airy, but oh my God, I felt so tired. I went straight to bed. Okay. Few hours later, I wake up and I check my messages at Facebook. A girl named Fiona that I had friended, but we had not made the connection yet, contacts me. Well, first of all, she'd seen a picture of one of my paintings, and she asked me, what is this painting? And I said, well, that's third eye and chakra activation. And she says, is that a picture of you? And I said, well, that's a picture of the ancient one within me. She says, well, my soul knows your soul. And I'm like, oh, that's perfect. So then she messages me, and I got to, you know, this is what's so amazing. Fiona is in Australia, by the way. So now we've had Dave in Montana, who tells me about the Hopo. I have a hard time saying it. I have Limari, who is in Puerto Rico. I have Fiona, who is in Australia now, who said that her guides are from the stars, and they're happy to see me. And the code word was stars, because the ancient one of me is very familiar with stars. So there was the code word that says the healing is continuing. Okay. She said they're trying to speak to you in Spanish, which was so sweet, because Limari, very thick accent, and was speaking in Spanish. I knew that whoever was speaking to her at this moment was with us in the healing session. And she said, my big guide is singing to you. Again, code word, the singing bowls. They wanted to give a message through somebody all the way over in Australia, that we're with you still, and this healing is going on. So, you know, of course, I start bawling my eyes out again, because I am so grateful. Okay, one, for Fiona for listening to her guides and for taking the action and reaching out to me. Bless your heart, Fiona. Thank you for being an angel. Okay, now I go back to bed because I am still exhausted. I wake up the next morning. I slept all day and all night. Next day, I wake up, and it was the weirdest feeling, because I remembered the stories of why I was fearful, but I wasn't feeling anything. And I wasn't feeling anything. It was like I was at neutral. I wasn't feeling a thing. And my mind kind of wanted to go into that, you know, okay, can I still feel it if I go, you know, but I'm like, no, wait a minute. There's a tool called let go of the story. Okay. I had to grab that tool. Why would I want to return to what I've been just healed of? But it was my little test. Okay. But I grabbed my tool that says, let go of the story. Okay. Now I'm just sitting there kind of blank. Next phone call is my friend Henry, who is also a healer of mine, who did not know, was not aware that I'd just been in this healing session. So I told him about what I had just been through. And in the way that he's so good about this, he was able to help me articulate in words all that I was feeling. From the neutralness to the detachment. I was very detached at that moment, because all of a sudden now I'm looking at this body of Sheila. I am inside this body of Sheila. I'm cool. I get to do what I'm all healed. I get to run out in the universe. I have galactic projects. I'm good. But this body of Sheila, she's the one who was holding on to the fear, okay? Because she believed, she didn't realize that she was perfect. She thought she was capable or willing to hold on to this fear. I had great compassion for her, because she'd been holding on to it for a long time, for fear that if she felt it again, it would be unbearable. She would die. Okay. In all of these healing sessions that I've been going through for years now, I've been able to say to her, look, we can heal this. We can let go of it. We can feel it one more time and then let go of it. And we're going to be fine. She's the one who's doing all the integration with the crystal energy, with all the sun and as an empath, being able to feel all those things. I knew that this fear I was carrying was not an ascension symptom. It was fear that I had been carrying for a very long time. Okay. Henry was so grateful that I would open up to him because he carried the same fear and he's never been able to vocalize it or let go. And he was so grateful to be able to hear the experience that I was having. It encouraged him that now maybe someday he will heal. Okay. This has been an epic healing session. And here's it's so wonderful because I asked and I received. Okay. And it wasn't just, it continued for 2 days with validation and here's some more. And in the end, I actually even received a gift of thanks because of my sharing. Okay. It is a beautiful experience doing healing. It is so opposite of the medical world. Okay. I had to choose healing because I did not blend with the medical world. I was forced to be able to go through this experience and growth through healing with energy. There's a whole story of how I went from being addicted to antibiotics to now receiving energy healing. And maybe I'll get to share that sometime. The emphasis here is if you've got tools, you're going to have to pull them out and use them if you want them to work for you. All right. There's a lot of faith. There's a lot of trust. And there's a lot of beauty in healing. And it may take someone from Montana and from Puerto Rico and Australia and Oregon to get me to use those tools. But thank God I've got that network. We talked about the network with the empaths. We talked with Nikki about Nikki had to just go ahead and just face her death so that she could go on living with purpose. Okay. These healing experiences are extremely, extremely personal because we're all healing from the experiences that we've had, that we've held in, that broke our hearts. Okay. That's why all this light is coming to the planet now, so that it will push those bad memories up so that we can let go. All right. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I held this fear for so long. Please forgive me, body. Please forgive me for holding on, because that is what can cause disease. And I'm sorry that I ever felt that I was not of love. Thank you for all my healers, for all my angelic, for my galactic, for everyone who has assisted me in my healings. And I love you. I love my body. I love Sheila for taking me through this journey. I love all of you for joining me and all my guests in these healing experiences, in laying this foundation in this with this new earth energy. We will eventually all be healed. We just have to do it one moment, one heartbreak at a time. And we have so many tools that we can use. If you've got some tools, peeps, use them. Get them out and use them. We've got healers. We've got tools. There's no reason not to start letting go of all the fear and anger that binds you. I hope you've enjoyed this show today. From my heart, which is expanding to yours. Namaste.